There are certain truths in life that only reveal themselves when you've lived long enough to recognize them. When you're 30, you think you have time. When you're 40, you think you're still in the middle of the story. But when you reach 60, 65, something shifts. Time begins to look different. It feels different, and it means something different. If you retire at 65 and you live until 85, that's about 1,000 weeks. But here's the part most people never want to look at directly. Only about 500 of those weeks are healthy, active, meaningful weeks. The kind you can still walk, still travel, still try new things, still enjoy life with full energy. For the first time, you realize that time isn't just passing, you're spending it. And the question becomes, am I spending it well? That's why today, I want to talk to you heart to heart about the years you have left, the fears you're carrying, and the opportunities hidden inside this stage of life that many people never recognize, not as an advisor, not as an expert, but as someone who has already walked the miles you're walking now, as someone who wishes he had learned these lessons earlier. So let's talk, slowly, gently, truthfully. The first truth: time feels different in your 60s because you finally understand its value. You see, when you're young, a year feels long because every year is filled with new experiences. But when you're older, routine takes over. Days blend, weeks blur. You wake up one morning and wonder how 5 years passed so quickly. The psychology behind this is simple. The brain compresses repetitive memories. If nothing new happens, your brain simply doesn't record it. That's why a decade in your 60s can feel shorter than 2 years in your 20s. So when someone tells you, try something new, travel somewhere you've never been, learn something you always put off, they're not just giving lifestyle advice. They're giving you a way to slow time down again, a way to feel alive again, a way to make your remaining weeks feel fuller, richer, longer, because you can't make time stop, but you can make it matter. The second truth: people in their 60s carry a quiet regret. I've spoken with hundreds of retirees, and you know what they regret most? Not that they didn't save enough, not that they didn't work harder, not that they didn't buy the house or the car or the investment. What they regret is the life they delayed, the trips they postponed, the conversations they avoided, the dreams they shelved for later, the people they thought they'd have more time with. There's a certain kind of pain that settles in when you realize you've spent decades taking care of everything except yourself. Many of you watching this know exactly what I mean. You put your kids first, your job first, your home first, your responsibilities first, and now, finally, you're allowed to think about you. But you might not know how. So let me say this clearly, because it matters. You are not selfish for wanting to live the years you have left. You are human, you are deserving, and you are right on time. The third truth: aging is not what people fear. Losing the ability to live is when someone says, I'm afraid of getting old. They're almost never afraid of the number. You know what they fear? Losing independence, losing mobility, losing relevance, losing connection, losing themselves. You don't fear aging, you fear shrinking. Shrinking possibilities, shrinking relationships, shrinking energy, shrinking purpose. That's why the lesson, energy management over time management, hits so deeply. You have the time, but do you have the strength, the enthusiasm, the vitality? That's what scares most retirees. Not the calendar, but the feeling that their world is quietly becoming smaller. But here's the beautiful part no one ever told you. Energy can be rebuilt. Purpose can be rediscovered. Life can expand again. You just need to give yourself permission to rebuild it. The fourth, truth. Retirement exposes your quietest fears, especially loneliness. People think retirees are lonely because they're old. No. Retirees become lonely because for 40 years, life was crowded. Coworkers, clients, colleagues, children, schedules, responsibilities, noise everywhere. But then the noise stops and silence enters. And for many people, silence is not peaceful, it's revealing. It reveals friendships that were never real family members, who moved on, partners who drifted a life built around doing, not connecting, and the sudden question, who do I talk to now? That's why lessons about relationships matter so much. Relationship bank account, weak ties, shared challenges. Because at this stage of life, connection is not optional. Connection is oxygen. If you feel lonely, not because you're alone, but because you feel invisible, know this: you can rebuild connection. You can create new ties. You can start again. Age is not a barrier to belonging. Silence is. And you can break that silence anytime you decide to. The fifth truth: at this age, you're not searching for success. You're searching for meaning. When the paycheck ends, when the title disappears, when the children grow up, when the routine dissolves, you're left with one question: what is the purpose of my life now? It's a question many people avoid because it's terrifying to face, but it's also the most freeing question you'll ever ask. Meaning doesn't come from achievement. Meaning comes from aliveness, from learning something new, from creating something with your hands, from being useful in small ways, from noticing the world, from capturing a beautiful day in a journal, from having a conversation that leaves you smiling, from helping someone younger who needs your wisdom, from becoming a beginner again. Your purpose is not behind you. Your purpose is wherever you place your attention today. The sixth truth: your remaining years can be the best of your life. If you choose them consciously, you don't need to reinvent yourself. You don't need to become someone new. You simply need to stop living by default and start living by design. Test things before committing. Try mini retirements. Take classes. Join groups. Explore. Reflect. Review. Adjust. Small changes compound. Tiny choices create new lives. New experiences create new memories. And new memories create new meaning. Your best years are not the years you were strongest. Not the years you were youngest. Not the years you were busiest. Your best years are the years you are most awake. And that can start today. At 60. At 70. At 80. Anytime you choose awareness over autopilot, growth over comfort, connection over isolation, life over waiting, your story deepens, your world expands, and your heart opens again. My friend, you've spent your whole life doing what you had to do. These next years are for what you want to do. Not later, not someday, now. Whether you have 1,000 weeks, 500 weeks, or far more than that, make them count. Not for the world, not for your legacy, not for anyone else's expectations, but for you. Because you deserve a life that feels lived, not rushed, not postponed, not forgotten, lived. I'm Stanley Wolfe. And I hope the rest of your life becomes the part you're proudest of.